I'm really provoked by a number of other, the privilege again of being able to delve into the stories of other women. And for me, Bernice Abbott, the photographer, is one of those artists.
Bernice Abbott was the first to design a pedagogy for photography over the 20 years that she taught at the New School.
I'm going to speak today about Bernice Abbott, an American photographer who was born in Ohio in 1898 and lived almost 94 years, dying in Maine in 1991. She taught at the New School from the fall of 1934 until she left as fast as the door closed on her last class in the spring of 1958. 25 years, she taught 2 classes routinely every semester, a beginning workshop and then a more advanced workshop, which often did not take place in the classroom, but involved going out into the city and working on the harbor or working in the streets of New York. She did eventually overcome her fears of teaching and used those notes to very good effect in 1941 when she was approached by Crown Publishers to write a how-to photography book, and that became a guide to better photography. But it was a very successful book, and it grew, actually that grew out of something that also had to do with Bernice's work, which shows you how energetic she had to be and many creative people had to be when they had not a full-time job and not a full-time income, and relying now sort of like our back to the gig economy in some ways. Bernice certainly couldn't account on portrait assignments.
Bernice Abbott, who I knew taught at the New School, but I didn't know so many of those things about her. She wasn't by nature a teacher. She didn't see herself that way. But she's doing what you do as an artist, to put bread on your table, and caring deeply for her students, being provoked by them, and taking them out onto the streets. And at the same time, she's creating some of the most important pieces of art in the 20th century. And her lens, her eye, offers us something that's still so important right now.
One of the very last New School things that happened, though, was Bernice had been named as a so-called hidden communist in 1951. And by 1954, they finally got around to investigating her, either to see if she was a subversive or to see if she could be recruited. But because she was essentially unblackmailable because she was so open about being gay, a lot of people could be, and recruited to spy for the FBI by fear of exposure. But in '54, Bernice took a trip through the South over the summer, and ostensibly somebody who worked or knew her at the New School reported her further to the FBI for her supposed subversive photography of civil rights activities in the South, because she was photographing evidence of still really a de jure segregation, whites only signs for drinking fountains and things like that. And that's in the last FBI report about her. So who knows?
The exciting thing about the Women's Legacy Project was Cecilia Rubino came up with the idea of having me do a musical performance showing the black and white physics or scientific photography of Bernice Abbott. I had never heard of Bernice Abbott. I saw this photography and I was blown away. And then I started reading up on this woman and the incredible visionary work that she had done as a photographer of scientific principles. These very beautiful black and white images of light waves and light beams and all kinds of exciting things. It was just a natural for this piece of music that I wrote and was performing called Frontiers in Science. And I had come up with this idea of doing a piece to honor pioneering women in the sciences and the social sciences at the New School and beyond. And so, thanks to Cecilia, I mean, this association that I found with Bernice Abbott, it sparked this idea. Cecilia doesn't even know this, but I've now started writing an enormous amount of music inspired by Bernice Abbott's work, and plan on doing a suite of it, a whole project. But that's what it takes, a woman talking to a woman across generations and across all institutional boundaries. That's the idea.
My hope is that we will begin to see that women's legacy is, of course, the women at the New School, because women were just instrumental in so many ways. But also that we will see ourselves today, when we pride ourselves on being multicultural and having diverse points of view and all of that, well, that we really enact that in women's legacy.